Hello and good afternoon. I'm Dara Bunjon. I am the food enthusiast here at J Moore Living. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm a food writer, food stylist, PR maven, and a frustrated baker. From time to time, you'll see me look to the side because I have to go to the computer to see if you have any comments coming in. So feel free to send in any comments or questions for our chef guest today, which is Master Chef Marcus Repp, Director of Food and Beverage for Lansdowne Resort and Spa in Leesburg, Virginia. That is a AAA four-diamond resort, and that is down in Leesburg. So let me welcome Chef Repp. Hi. Hi, Chef. How
Hello,
are you?
I'm great. Happy Thursday.
Thursdays are always great for me because I'm always interviewing somebody fabulous, such as
Aw,
yourself.
thank you so
Uh,
much. It's great to be
you-
here.
um, just going to do a little background. You graduated culinary in Germany
hmm
as a certified master chef. There are different, the American Federation has master chefs and there's global master chefs. Can you explain your master chef degree or what you had to go through to get the certified master chef?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a while. So I've been doing this for about over 30 years now, but it's a great lifestyle and it's really a great place to be in life. So back in Germany, the way it worked is that we usually do a very traditional apprenticeship when we are younger. And then the Master Chef certification is kind of like the next step in our careers. This was a 6 months program that was basically partially schooled. We did a lot of online training, hands-on training at the time, cooking as well as learning about wines and everything else. And it ended with a very stringent basically graduation where we had to cook a six-course meal for 8 people in the time span of 8 hours. But when I say cooking, I mean we cooked everything from scratch. Every sauce, every font, everything was done. Every butchering was done by ourselves. So not a lot of people pass this course. There's only about a 20% passing because it is very stressful. And I was lucky enough, and I think I had a great training that got me through it. So it was a great experience back then.
And you still have all 10 fingers.
Still have them all, yes.
Yes, that's not easy with the butchering and doing your mother sauces and the things that you have to do
Yeah,
8 hours. I can barely do 8 hours with a simple roast that I do for guests. So kudos.
thank you.
Um, so from Germany, but you have a wanderlust, and being a chef afforded you to go many places. Um, where have you gone in the world, and where would you like to go back to, or where would you like to see? What haven't you seen? Where would you like to go?
So I have to tell you how I actually started in the business. I used to watch a wonderful black and white movie when I was younger called Grand Hotel. And it really instilled in me that I wanted to be part of this business. I was very fascinated by people that worked in hotels and stayed in hotels. It was very glamorous at the time, and so I really always wanted to be a chef, and I wanted to travel the world because for me, I found out very early that cooking for people is a love language. It is something that
Right.
brings something back to us as well because we get a lot of positive feedback and we can make people very happy. So going from Germany, I worked in Germany in the different areas. I was in Friedberg, what is around Frankfurt. I moved to Würzburg, what is Bavaria. Went to all the way to the north to an island called Sylt, was kind of like the Hamptons of Germany, and worked there. And then via Düsseldorf, Mönchengladbach, I actually ended up in Moscow. Worked for Le Méridien in Moscow at a time when Moscow was still a little wild and a little young in cooking and culinary arts, and spent about 2 years there. and then ended up in the Cayman Islands and worked for Westin and Starwood in Cayman for about 10 years, and opened a hotel in St. Martin as well, what was the Westin Dawn Beach at the time. So got around a lot, yes, and ended up in the United States because, to be honest, I always wanted to come to the States. I was always very fascinated by the United States.
How many years have you been here now?
So I came to the United States in 2008, became a citizen in 2013, and have lived in Cincinnati for some time, worked on a corporate basis there for a hotel chain, many hotels out through South Florida and the Caribbean. Went to San Francisco, worked there for the Marca Hotel, what was a destination property at the time, and then came to beautiful Virginia, and have been here in Leesburg since 2016 in this great property that we have here.
Let's we'll come back to the question about where you would like to go or see or do, but let's talk about the Lansdowne Resort Spa Inn, golf course, everything. It's inclusive of anything that you might need. Let's talk about the inn, the resort, the spa.
Yeah. It's
Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
You can't ask for a better place for farms, wine. So fill us in. Tell people, give it that elevator speech if you ran into somebody to tell them about the hotel.
Well, first of all, I would like to invite everybody to come and see us because, especially right now, you see everything greening in Virginia. It is amazing. We have such a unique setup here, from the microclimate that is really helping with the wines that we grow in this area, to the proximity to Washington, D.C. We're very close to the metro area, but you are feeling like you're in a different world. You are outside of D.C. You are in an area. We have 2.5 golf courses, Greg Norman and Robert Trent Jones Jr. We have a small 9-hole that is called Shark Bite. We have an array of restaurants where we are utilizing what we can buy on the farms around us, many breweries, wineries. So really, you can make a long weekend out of this. You come see us, and you will see that Lansdowne is nestled right on top of the Potomac River. You look across, you can actually see Maryland. And, we have one of the best staff working for us here that is taking such great care of our guests. And, when you come through the doors and you spend a couple of days with us, I think you would be amazed to see what we can do for you and how we can make and pamper you with our spa services that are based on wellness and holistic living, to other areas where this initiative, this holistic wellness initiative, is just bleeding into. And it is just amazing the feedback that we get from a lot of guests when they leave, telling us how much more relaxed they are than when they came in.
And I just want to tell people that the information on the Lansdowne Resort, which is the website is lansdowneresort.com, will float up in the notes and be there for everybody to take advantage of. And you're going to spend 20 minutes going through the website. They offer so much. So let's talk about, specifically, you have a wellness weekend coming up. And do you want to talk about that? And you have this new 5 earth elements, which is part of your new cuisine. So fill people in, fill me in, because I don't know about it. So
we are a very unique resort as far as we are being emerged in this Asian culture of healing for the last couple of years. We have spent numerous hours researching and finding out what we can do to make people better and healthier when they come see us, and send them away back into the world, to basically be able to withstand everything that we have to deal with on a daily basis. So what came out of this was a concept that we started doing here called E-Vive Cuisine, what is based on 5 elements, 5 seasons, in correspondence of your organs, your 5 organs. So basically, when we create menus now, we look at a very holistic approach to all of this. It is the color on the plate, it is the flavors that we are serving to you, and it is also the nourishment as far as the product that you're going to be able to enjoy with us that is going to make a huge difference in your life at the time. Our vessel is our wellness weekend that kind of gets you started. We provide a lot of different things. We provide yoga. We have a cooking class where we teach you techniques. We also have a nutritionist that is here that is going to be able to help us even when you leave us. And we have a great product that we have developed here that is called RDS that we are introducing to the people that come, to the guests. That is really something that is made out of an all herbal product and that we're using also in the food and in the bread that we are serving. And this is helping with, just with regeneration, rejuvenation, lung function. It's really, really an interesting way of looking at food and looking at a menu that we're doing now.
Can you give me an example?
Sure, absolutely.
Give me an example.
So if we think about the time that we're in right now, we are in spring. In the springtime, everything sprouts, everything comes out of the ground, everything rejuvenates. So what we want to do right now is we want to use items that are green, that are coming out of the ground, that are giving you this life energy that you will need to get through the next couple of months. So we do a lot of salads. We actually have hydroponic farms in the resort where we grow our own bok choy, herbs, salads that we're using in dishes in the restaurant. And, this is kind of like our spring where we now also incorporate our botanicals, our cocktails, and we kind of bring this all together. And it is such an unique initiative that we started here. And just looking at the next couple of months, going through the summertime, more cooling items that we're going to serve you to make sure that your body is not retaining the heat, but giving the heat out, and really making sure that you are in this yin and yang, that your body is centered and is balanced to get you into the winter time where we will do the opposite. We want to make sure that you keep that heat. You keep that heat in your shoulders and in your lungs. And make sure that your lungs are shielded to what is coming in the winter. So it's really such a flow of seasons and a flow of food and a flow of just a complete sense of understanding things that we actually know, but we might have forgotten them over the time.
And right now, how many restaurants do you have open at the inn? I know there's multiple, but I think some are getting ready to open.
Yes.
So people can come and dine, people can come and stay. Absolutely. How many restaurants?
Yeah, and I just want to say that we were very fortunate because we never closed. We stayed open. We did what we could at a time. And now we are coming to this time where we really are able to open the doors fully again and welcome people to come back to us. We right now have our Piemont's restaurant open, what is connected to our golf course. Beautiful views of the driving range and the outside of Virginia. We are opening Coton and Rye, what is our local kind of bar area with a small menu and craft cocktails on the weekends. We also have a small restaurant out on the course that is a great hike just to go to the Potomac. And on the way there, you can have a really nice breakfast sandwich, a quinoa bowl, something like that. And we also just opened our Harmony Market, which is really a project that is really dear to my heart, with a lot of innovative food items and fresh juices and so on. Really, really great. And of course, the pool is opening up. So we're going to open Currents this weekend, what is our pool restaurant.
Okay. So in the Harmony Market, they can come in and get what I would call your tonic.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. That's available there. Let me come back to some food. Um, what makes a great pasta sauce?
Simplicity. I kind of found in general over the years that I've been cooking that it is not about a lot of spices and a lot of things that mask actually the product. I think a great pasta sauce, if we take tomato, for example, it starts with the tomato. You need to be able to taste the heat of the sun in your tomato. And if you have ever really took a bite out of a tomato that comes fresh off the vine and you have that sweetness and that slight acidity, but just something that is completely different than from a tomato that you would get from a supermarket. And you use that and you make your pasta sauce with it. You use your fresh basil. You use thyme because the flavors just have to come together. A really nice extra virgin olive oil, garlic, salt and pepper. Super simple.
So if we're not in tomato season, then are you a proponent of the San Marzino tomatoes?
Absolutely not. Nope. It's actually funny that you mentioned that because we did you see behind me, this is our cooking studio. So we did some innovative stuff through the last year. We with our golf membership, we packed like a bag for them basically, sent them off with all the ingredients to make a pasta and make a pasta sauce. And I was here with my friend Daniela, with Cucina More, and we actually cooked along with 30 people on Zoom, and we made that pasta sauce, and we made fresh pasta, and we had a glass of wine, and it was such an awesome event that we did for over about 2 hours on a Tuesday night. So, and that was actually the tomatoes we used at the time.
And what tomatoes were those? I must have missed it.
The San Marzano,
San Marzino. Yeah.
the San Marzino, the canned tomatoes. And it was funny because Daniela said, this is the closest thing you can get to a great vine-ripe tomato if you don't have it available.
Okay, so everybody, did you mark that down? Simplicity. I understand that you have quite a few hobbies. Motorcycles.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Motorcycles, CrossFit. It's very hard to, if anybody's worked in a kitchen, you understand that standing on your feet, even though you're managing the hotel and overseeing and leadership, that staying fit is important because it's wear and tear on the body.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have a chef crush? I say that because I saw you had a quote from Marco Pierre White. Is he your chef crush, or is there someone that's important to you?
I mean, if we're talking about male chefs, it's definitely Marco. Giada is definitely my female crush, I have to say. And but I have to tell you that Marco Pierre White was such a big influence on me when I grew up in Germany and went through my training in the 1980s, because he was somebody that coming out of England at the time, England was not really well known for good food, but he kind of took this training that he had received in France and took it back to England. But he was such a rebel as well at the time, and he was just somebody that was very inspiring because he was not the typical very traditional chef, and that's what really I think attracted me to him. And looking at his dishes over the time, and even giving back his stars, saying, what all I want to do is just cook good food. I really don't have to have accolades, because it's going to speak for itself. I think that really made a big difference for me. And going to Ireland and eating at one of his simpler restaurants with my son, and my son saying this is the best spaghetti pesto that I ever had in my life, that kind of tells you, so.
Right. For people who want to learn more, his book is called White Heat.
Yes.
Marco Pierre White. Read it. I think it's illuminating. And
Gordon Ramsay actually learned under Marco, so he was on his brigade. So
yes, I think in the story it tells that he took a knife up he made Gordon cry. Wasn't that it? Or he took, was
Yes,
that who he
yes.
took a knife up the back of his chef's coat? If you want to learn about kitchens, read the book, and that is White Heat. And I want to remind people, we're not done here, that the wellness weekend, if they want to get involved, look, you're not far from Baltimore. People are
Hmm.
coming into DC. You're close to wine country. You're close to so much. Come in. The wellness weekend is the 11th through the 13th of June. Best or worst piece of advice that you've received, or both, if you care to share?
I think best advice I've ever received in the kitchen was to keep my head down, to listen. And, I think that's very important when you're in a kitchen. Kitchens are very regimented. If it runs like a well-oiled machine, it's great. Worst advice that I've ever been given is probably not to become a chef, because it's so stressful, But, like I said before, for me now, this is not a job anymore. This is a lifestyle. You have to live this. You have to be able to have a relationship with the food that you cook. Otherwise, you can taste it on the plate. And once you take that and say, what it's a lifestyle, then the hours are not long anymore. And being on your feet is not a chore, because this is just what you do because it's in your heart, and that's really all that matters.
Well, the food. I did at a women's chefs conference in DC. I went around and did this little video. It's up on YouTube under @Dara Cooks if people want to look at it. And I interviewed multiple women chefs, and I said, "Why food?" Got some interesting answers, but most of us like, "Why not?" It's love, it's passion.
Yeah.
So. You also we're having the wellness weekend coming up in Lansdowne. You have concerts on the weekend
Hmm.
that are coming up, and you love music because I saw that in the notes.
Yes.
Um, and Father's Day event. And let's see, what else do I have here? Okay, I don't want to miss anything. Father's Day barbecue on June 20th. There's a summer concert series on
Hmm.
select Fridays through the fall. We talked about the Wellness Symposium, June 11th to the 13th, 4th of July celebration with fireworks. So I just, go to the website, which is, lansdowneresort.com. All right. What can we do in general with it's very broad, to do in our diets to make a difference?
That's a great question, and I think there's a lot of information out there now, and it's probably harder to filter certain things out than to, because we can look up anything, right? So if I want to say, hey, gluten is bad for you, if I search for that, I'm probably going to find 120 websites. If I search for gluten is good for you, you probably can find 120 websites as well.
Right.
So I think if you are able to go to a farmer's market, or if you're able to pick up that chicken from your local farmer that has been raised, on pastures, not in an environment that is enclosed and dark. If your food has been happy through the life, it will probably translate to your plate. I think make it quality over quantity. Kind of look at what a lot of times is done in Mediterranean countries, in Europe and Germany, and other areas, where the plates are usually much smaller than they are in the US. And I think one thing that we underestimate as well: share a meal with your friends and with your family. Go to a friend's house, pick up ingredients, cook together, talk about your week. Trust me, you're not going to need therapy if you do this with your friends, because that's a much better therapy. It's much cheaper. You get something out of it because you get a meal out of it at the end of the day. And it's a big part of living, especially now that we are opening up again. I think it's very important to connect to people.
It's important. I know through on two things. When I grew up, we sat around the table as a family and talked about our day. There was no TV, there was no reading there. And however mundane or silly it came from a kid in the third grade, I might say, oh, Billy did this and so did that. My parents listened. So to me, food is love. That's sitting around the
Yes.
table. That's what was generated to me. And there's nothing better to me than to have people around, share a meal, share a conversation. So I'm 350% behind you when you say that. Absolutely connect with people. I wanted to come back. I had started asking you at the beginning of the show about if you could go back to anywhere that you worked in the world, or is there a place that you want to go to in the world? Where would that be?
So I think I really enjoyed working in Cayman, in the Cayman Islands. There was a lot of different things that I liked about it. The freshness of the seafood, of course, and the fish. Being able to actually go out and catch the fish and then bring it back to the kitchen and prepare it in the evening. Also, it was a little bit more laid back than we are here, and we just had an opportunity to, even with everything that was going on, and being on an island, but we created such amazing events in a backdrop setting that you cannot sometimes recreate in other hotels, right? I mean, you're on the beach, you're on the
Right.
pool deck. That's already your backdrop. And I had such a great culinary team, so many international people from around the world, from India and Spain and Sweden and New Zealand. And I just love working with people from different walks of life. I think it brings something to the table. Everybody can contribute, and I think it creates something very, very special in the evenings.
Well, I'm going to wrap up, and as I gave you advance notice, there's two questions that I ask at the end of the show. Uh, what was your most epic culinary fail?
So my most epic culinary fail was actually here at Lansdowne, and we did an event where we had a big signing ceremony for the ownership at the time. We had this amazing room set up that was all draped in black around, and we had spotlights on the table. It really looked stunning. We had a 5-course menu. I had these dignitaries from big hotel companies here, and I failed to check the soup that we made. And it was a lobster bisque, and we had somebody make it that was with us only for a few days, and he forgot to strain the soup. So it went out and there was shells in it, and I was mortified. I literally just wanted to leave and cry because it was so humiliating and bad. And I got so many. I thought I was done. I thought that was my last day. So, but we were able to rescue it. I apologize to everybody in the room, and people were okay. But it was probably the worst I ever felt serving at dinner. So
Well, I can imagine, you know. You just say, well, I'm sorry, there's extra nutrients in the shells. That's why they're
yeah.
there. Oh, you're a pleasure. I hope one day I'll get to meet you. It's funny that we had the small world thing happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to fill people in, I had dinner with a friend who was up from Montgomery County, and I said, "Have you been to the Lansdowne Inn?" And he gets a big smile, and he was just there a couple of days ago, and he had been there twice and met Chef, and he gave me a picture of him and Chef, so I sent it. So I hear Disney's little music in the background. It's a small world, isn't it, going on? All right, Marcus. Um, what didn't I ask you that I should have?
When are you coming for dinner?
I'll have to
That's
speak
really
to
that's really the question.
I have to speak to Ibrahim,
Yes,
and
yes. We have to. we have to cook together and we have to dine together, because this is all that matters right now. We have to have connections with people, and I think you covered everything pretty well. But I really would like people to know that, you know, our industry is in a resurgence. We are bringing people back to work. We are very motivated to welcoming everybody back in our restaurants and in our hotels. And please come and see us and help us to get back where we were before all of this craziness happened. And we are very, very excited to see everybody again.
Well, I think you're going to be seeing some people, and at least from this area, you know, people want to get away. They're not quite sure about the planes, though. I went to Florida, came back, I'm still here.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, it sounds like an absolutely lovely place to go spend a long weekend. And you can do the spa and everything there. If you golf, tennis, hiking, whatever you want. I mean, it's all there encompassed in the Lansdowne. I'm sorry. I look out to my porch and somebody on my deck, and somebody had fingertips and they're climbing. I'm sorry. Okay. That struck me so funny. I do it for the best light. Okay.
Yes.
So everybody, everything you needed to know about Lansdowne. I will try to make arrangements to come out. We'll, you know, come out and cook together. You might be embarrassed by. Yeah, I make this lobster bisque with shells.
Oh my goodness.
I won't say it anymore. Everyone, Chef Marcus Repp, we thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
we
Thank
hope
you for
to
having
see
me.
you soon. And I'm just going to fill in people for next week's show. Next week's show is Chef Porter Berger, and he is a chef who cooks with THC. We're going to discuss the benefits of cooking with THC, being a licensed caregiver and hosting THC dinners. Restrictions are lifted now in the Maryland restaurants, so go out, fill those restaurants. They need your business. As for some restaurant news, I'm just reading it because I can't remember anything. Chef Jose Andres is opening a Spanish diner this week in Bethesda. Past week, I dined at a 5-star, why can't I think of the name of it? I'll come back to it. And I went out to Liberty Delight Farms, and they have a shop that's out in Reisterstown. Fabulous array of items, along with the meats, the cattle that they raise, the chickens that they raise, the Berkshire pigs that they raise. So all the meats you can buy, they supplied the restaurants. When COVID hit, they've built this store. They have Angelina's crab cakes. They have a specialty pizza. Somebody used to work at the French Laundry had to come back to Baltimore, so they have these frozen pizzas, the Charmery ice cream, cookies, baked goods, olive oil. So look them up. That is Liberty Delight Farms in Reisterstown, Maryland. And just thought of it, Red Star Restaurant in Fells Point. I don't know, I got stuck on 5-star. Red Star Restaurant in Fells Point. At the helm is Chef Cyrus Kiefer. Let's see if the math works. And Cyrus is doing his Italian food there. When I say that, it's you know, it's pizza, it's arancini, it's pasta, it's salads, and his calamari, no matter where I go, and he does it, it's wonderful. It's grilled. So check it out. Wonderful menu at the restaurant Red Star down in Fells Point. And let's see, I'm looking over my notes. All right, got it. So we're going to wrap it up. So the show will be up immediately on JMore Living's Facebook page. In a couple hours, will be on jmoreliving.com's page. You can email me at food@jmoreliving.com. My social is at Dara Cooks. Until next week, please stay safe. Enjoy your time out. Go running, take a hike, walk, take the show with you and listen to it there. And as always, may your plates always remain full. I will see you next week, and thank you for tuning in.